I'm ready to go right now. Mhm. Hello, 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 everyone. Give me a second and we'll be ready to go. Let me make sure the volume is down. There we go. Okay, put this up here. Ooh, look at this. I'm dropping things. Sorry about that, guys. All right, give me a second. Okay, there we go. All right. Hello, 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 everyone. Pray everything is well with you. Keith K.L. Belvin here, crisis specialist, professional counselor, author, educational consultant, and man of God. Yes, I wear multiple hats. I wear multiple hats. Hey, Dana, how are you? Good morning. Good morning. But yeah, I wear multiple hats. And so it's what allows me to help as many people as possible. And it has been an interesting week, to say the least. Actually, interesting 2 weeks. But you deal with the highs, you deal with the lows. Now, with that said, I want to have this conversation because I want to let you know it's every Friday at 10:30. I'll be on live, but that's it. I am not gonna. I am taking a break from social media, so I am going to actually only come on to go live on Fridays just to kind of fill folks in, connect, or do whatever, and then that's it. I have there's a lot of things that I want to get done, and there's a lot of products that I want to create that I believe is going to allow me to help a lot of the people that I work with, and so this is what I'm going to do, and um, and I think every now and then we got to step away from what's our current state of affairs if we're going to help folks, and so that's what I'm doing. So, but I want to get into today's conversation. All right. First and foremost, happy Father's Day to all of the kings out there who are fathers. Let me say that. And no, I'm not adding the caveats. No, I'm not saying shout out to all the mothers who do fathers. No, we're not doing that. I'm not a believer in that. Shout out to all the mothers who do what they do, who may not have the help. Shout out to you, but it's not in a replacement for Father's Day. We don't get into that. That's a mental trick that a lot of folks put out there to kind of speak to how they feel about their situation. Don't buy into that. Shout out to all the mothers who have to do it alone. It's not easy, and I understand it. And you get credit for just being you. You don't have to turn around and get into a whole back and forth over, well, for the mothers who's doing both father and mothers, and to the fathers who's doing, no, stop. It's Father's Day. If you believe in that, I don't even celebrate it because I don't buy into any of the American holidays because I think they're all designed to hit you. Thank you. I appreciate that, Dana. I think they're all designed to kind of keep you in a certain state of mind when what does it really mean? Okay, you celebrate a father on one day. You're supposed to recognize your father every day if he deserves it. And that's something that I want to talk about is that what you can use the holidays for, man, woman, or child, is you can use this Sunday as a great day for forgiveness and change. Yes. The one thing I have come to learn with Mother's Days, Father's Days, Christmas, Thanksgiving, these holidays are great opportunities for jump offs to something positive if you can allow yourself to see more than just what other people would like you to see. And as much as we say we're not governed or we're not led by, that's not true. Many of us are led by whatever the connection is for the circles that we are in. Some of us are money driven, some of us are sociable, and we are driven by wanting to interact with others. Some of us are recluse, so we're driven to just kind of be in our little area. We're all driven by something. You just have to make sure that it is positive. Now, Father's Day. Whew. Father's Day is difficult. And I can tell you, using myself, because, I'm transparent. I don't hide what I do. Father's Day is very difficult for my children because of my past. Father's Day used to be very difficult for me before my father and I reconnected. And it used to be very difficult for me on a personal level just because I wasn't always a good guy. And I have made amends with that. But just because I have had some type of turnaround doesn't mean that the problems that my children have faced because of who I was, have they turned around? No. And they don't have to. And that's something that I share with fathers. Please understand, if you did dirt, just because you found God doesn't mean that your children will turn around and be forgiving. That you have to deal with. And you have to accept it. And all you can do is be the new you. When the opportunity presents itself, show that you have changed, offer love, and then leave it alone. For the men, we can't fix all that we damaged. It's not for us to fix. It's for us to be receptive of the idea of the fix. And what I mean by that is promote positivity, even if you can't be the change agent. And I hope that makes sense. Now, if this is anybody's first time seeing me, whether you're watching me in replay or you're watching me live, and shout out to Dana for watching me live, you know that I used to be a misogynistic whore. I ran those streets as good as anybody out there who is connected to anything sexual. Yep. Panties and sex was my God. And I was very good at praising my God. And when you live that type of life, you create children, whether you want to or not. You have sex, you're going to take chances, and those chances could possibly produce children. And it did. And a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times, men are out here with women they don't really want to be with. They just want to have sex with them. And men don't tell this like they should. I have no problem telling the truth, because the truth is the truth. Many of us as men do not have sex with women we even like. We just want to have sex with them. And some women are that way, but more so men, because we can just throw our feelings in the trash can and pick them up on the way out. And there's some women that way too, but for the most part, a lot of men. And in doing that, when I hear this question is, how could a man lay with you and get you pregnant and just walk away as if he don't care? He never cared. He cared about the sexual escapade. He cared about the ejaculation. And once it was done, he was done. The child is collateral damage. Now, I didn't say it's right, and I'm not co-signing it. I'm just giving you an idea how some, and I have to stress this, some, because you say things online and people run with what they hear. Some men. Are there good men out there? Of course. Tremendously good men. And they need to be highlighted more. And I'm going to get to that too. So you have to understand that many of these men, they don't know what the idea of a good father is supposed to be. So they cannot become what they've never seen or have no knowledge of. And this is why this day that's coming up on Sunday creates such a problem for so many people. It invokes a lot of feelings. The mothers that are out there. Do you know how many mothers out there? And any mothers that's watching this, please put a 1 in the chat if you agree. That men have, some men, we could say many, have no idea how you truly felt about them. And it had nothing to do with sex. Put a 1 in the chat if I'm correct. That there are men out there to this day that have no idea what you felt about them. And it did not have anything to do with the sex. And in many cases, the sex enhanced what you were already feeling, but it wasn't the antithesis of your feelings. If you're watching this in replay, put a 1 in the chat. And the reason why I know that is because when I counsel a lot of the women that I'm with, when they speak from that emotional position, but Keith, how could he treat me like this when and then you fill in the line. I felt this way, did this wrong, whatever. And often it's because we come to the table and we see things differently. So a lot of sisters are carrying a lot of emotion going into this weekend. And it's not just as the mother to their children, it is as the children to certain fathers. Because some of our sisters are dealing with issues that their father wasn't what they were supposed to be. So they're the products of a man like I used to be. And I hope that that's not confusing. But this cycle is connected. We have young men who are damaged because they never had interactions with their father, only with their mother. And those mothers had the same negative interactions with their fathers, but on a different level than the child. And so you have a couple people hurt living in the same home. And here comes this holiday. Happy Father's Day. And so, and then, it's a lot of people are going to fake it for one day. Fathers are going to show up and act like they're concerned for one day. Mothers are going to be like, all right, whatever, take them for the day. Well, here's what I say to all of that. Use the day as a starting point. Use Father's Day as a forgiveness day. Use Father's Day as a day of change. So I'm speaking to the mothers and I'm speaking to the fathers and any children there's not many, but any children that may be on my page. We cannot change what someone has done. We cannot lose the memories of what has happened to us. But what we can do is we can learn and we can grow and we can become something different. And we can become a new creature with those memories, with that history. So to the fathers, hear me. Am I a different man than I was 17 years ago? I am. Do I still have to face the damage that I put into motion 17 years ago? But I'm okay with it. So I'm going to tell you how. One, you have to forgive yourself. And ladies, this goes for you too. You have to forgive yourself. Don't worry about, and some women beat themselves up for letting a man pass the defenses. Don't do that. It happened. Don't allow something from years ago to continue to beat on you now. This is what I'm here for professional help too. But that's the first thing. Forgive yourself. Speak life into yourself, even if the situations that you have done really took you to the brink. I have a young lady that I met on TikTok. Her husband gave her HIV. Wow. After she reopened the door to him and tried to rekindle what she thought was going to be a very outstanding relationship, and it turned out to be a death sentence. For him, he's gone. She's still here. And as I said to her, it's not a death sentence for her. You're dealing with it. And you're going to deal with it. And you're going to beat this. You have to convince yourself of that. But I was honored that she even shared that with me, because she had some fears and concerns. And I was actually glad that she found it within herself to allow me to hear that, to figure out what I can do to help her. So you see, guys, going into this weekend, it is a great day to be able to, one, ask for forgiveness, or two, offer forgiveness. It's also a great day to consider and put into motion true change and connect that to the forgiveness if the two are connectable. Here's another thing. Once the Father's Day is over, come Monday morning, act on the things you said the day before. Coming up, when I was younger, my sister's father, who I thought was my father, he wasn't. That's a whole nother story. If you're not familiar with the urban community, many of us brothers and sisters of color find out that certain individuals in our families are not who we thought them to be, only because sometimes parental lies are a real thing. But my sister's father, who I thought was my father, turned out that he wasn't. He was no good either. My father left. My biological father was never there. We didn't reconnect until I was 39. I've told that story before, not for today. And shout out to my father. Happy Father's Day. I'll call him. I just spoke to him yesterday. We had a great conversation. I'll call him on Sunday. So my sister's father, turns out, wasn't no good. But he never knew how to tell the truth. He lied so much that he told my mother that he wanted to get back with her. He stayed on the phone and went through this whole scenario for months about how he wanted to restore the family. He poured into every aspect of my mom that she wanted. And the idea of building the actual family back and all that, she was overwhelmed by it, that she sold everything that we had and moved. And here was the plan. Let me just walk you through this and show you how life can be screwed up. We were living in South Jersey. Now I was born in New York, but living in South Jersey. Father pimping and talking on the phone for months. His sister was getting married in New York. My father convinces my mother so much that he wants to get back that he says, when y'all come to the wedding, we'll then hook up and I'm going to bring you to Minnesota where I live because I want to restore this family. I want my family. I want my daughter. I want my son. So he called me. And I was still buying into the foolishness of, okay, Dad, you're going to get me the truck, realizing that ain't no truck show up, but that's another story. My mother ate it up, hook, line, and sinker. Sold everything. I had comics that now when I look back at it were worth thousands of dollars, but okay. We get to New York. This bastard, I said it, pardon my language, ladies, and I'm sorry, yes, I'm a man of God. This negative man, pardon my language, never showed up to his own sister's wedding because of the lies that he told or the drinks that he was having. And here we are stuck in New York in 1979 and nowhere to live because my mother had anticipated reconnecting with a man she hadn't seen in years to have a life with. Now, luckily, my grandmother allowed us to stay in her apartment. So here we are in a 2-bedroom apartment with my grandmother and her boyfriend. Yeah, my grandmother had a boyfriend. And my aunt and daughter and 2 kids. We slept on the floor for 3 years. My mother would have the pull-out couch. My sister and I would sleep on the floor. We'd get everything up in the morning. Everything was straight. You would not know if you came over during the day that that was our bedroom you were in when you were in our living room. 3 years. All because my mother allowed her emotions to get in the way of sound thinking. And I carried that hate for a long time. So much so that I didn't react to men that my mother dated. And I definitely, me and my grandmother's boyfriend, we fought all the time. We fought at 12, 14, 16. 16 is when I started winning. And 18, I beat the crap out of. Cost me a ripped tendon in my knee, so I paid a price for the foolishness. So let's see what you say, Dana. Very interesting. Understanding each player's perspective is key to moving forward. Yes, that's the reason why we have to be, I said we have to forgive ourselves first. Very true. That's it. You right on point as always, Dana. And then beating this man up cost me because now I have a damaged knee that I had still lived with after all these years. I sometimes show the kids in school this wicked scar I got across the top of my knee because my grandmother was suffering through some of the same foolishness with the man that she was with that was no good. But why? Because he was helping pay the bills. And here's my mother. So generational curses were active in my life. And how do I know? My sister has gone through the same thing, and my other sister has gone through the same thing, and I am on my second marriage. So you see, what we put into motion can have an effect on those that come after us in terms of our children, women and men. Now you may say, Keith, what does any of this have to do with Father's Day? Easy. Father's Day is a great jump-off day to forgive what has happened and to move forward on what you can become and leave that trash behind. I had to leave a lot alone. I had to grow. I had to become a different man. And with my own children, I'll tell you the truth. I've said this before. I have 7 children with 6 different women. Go ahead, make the face. Oh, that's disgusting. It's okay. I'm used to it. It's my truth. I was a whore. I said that at the beginning of this live. And when you're a whore, you're out in the street taking chances. When you say, well, how come you didn't protect yourself? Okay, I should have. I don't disagree. And if you've ever read my book, From Gigolo to Jesus, trust me, if you ever read my book, From Gigolo to Jesus, there's a whole chapter on abortions and miscarriages. I had to grow and understand the damage from that. I didn't even understand what that does to a woman until I had to learn that there were women out there who were unable to have children because they were messing with my stupid behind. And yes, I have prayed often and I've asked the Lord to forgive me, and I have talked to as many of those women. And actually, I'm still cool with a couple of them. You go, really? Yes, because that's what change does. But my change has nothing to do with their change. They was able to see past their own pain and be able to accept me, the new me, because they understood that the old me was what it was, who he was. So even with my own children, I had to get to the point that after I forgave myself, I reached out, I've made attempts. And once I realized that my kids, the older kids, the first 2, and the third one, let's see, I'll put them in order for you. Here we go. I have a son that's 39, I believe. He's almost 40. So yes, do the math. I'm 54. So I had him when I was 14, going on 15. I have a daughter, 32. I have a son, 30. I have another son, 26. I have another daughter, 25. I have another son, 21. And then I have the princess, 8 years old. So if you look at those numbers, you see the run. You see the run. The numbers don't lie. And when you go, so wait a minute, you have a son that's 30, you got a daughter 32, do the math. Come on, it'll start happening. So you have a son that's 26, another daughter, but you were married? Yeah, do the math. I said I was a whore. The numbers tell you. And what you have to realize is that I can't change that. I embrace it. I embrace it simply because it was my life. Now, I can't force my children to accept me as their father. Have we talked? Yes. Have I asked for forgiveness? Of course. Have I said I'm sorry? Of course. But if that's not enough, there's nothing else I can do. So I leave the light on and the door open. And if you like, you can go to YouTube, Keith K.L. Belvin. And on my YouTube, I have a whole week where I interviewed all of my kids except for one. Her name is Courtney. And her mother did not want her to know I was her father because, and again, let me show you how messy I was. Courtney's father and I went to school together. We didn't hang out. Courtney's father and I knew each other because when he started messing with Courtney's mom, I had already been with her. And he didn't like me. He had a reason to. He didn't know what reason, but he just didn't like the way I moved. I wouldn't have liked me either. And so the whole time he was messing with her and married her, I was right there. I was the original sneaky link before that was a thing. All 3 of the children could be mine, but the second one definitely is. But the mother did not want to tell because if she told the truth, she now has to face the reality of what she was out here doing. And she knew the husband wasn't going to deal with that. And the husband got to know, he knew who I was. And the husband did not like me. I didn't like me either. Always said, you play too much. You're going to get hurt. Not by you, bro. I was a thug in these streets too. But what he had no idea was the whole time when he went to work, I was in their house. I was filthy. I was a filthy dude, and I have no problem. It's how I help people now because I actually have no problem accepting what I was, and it's why I work so hard to help young men and young women to not be this. My truth is my truth. But my daughter was never told that I was her father. And I stayed right off the distance. We've met. We've talked. She don't know I'm a father until my other daughter, the second daughter. Now we talking. Hey, how you doing, Isaac? Good afternoon, sir. I'm glad to have some time to sit down. Okay, appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate you. And so my oldest daughter told her sister, we have the same father. She didn't take it well. So she decided, I don't want to have anything to do with him. Again, fathers, listen to me. You don't get to dictate the forgiveness or the change when it comes to the children that you have hurt. So my daughter, we've never talked. I've reached out numerous times on Facebook, tried to call. She wants to have nothing to do with me. Partly because her mother never decided to accept truth. So her mother would keep saying, she don't want to talk to you. She don't want to talk to you. And I said, but I need your help. I want to be able to meet her. Mother never actually gave in. Okay. So there's a young lady out there who's never had a chance to meet her father. She now will never get to meet her grandmother and her great-grandmother because they're no longer here. And this is the damage, men. Please listen to me. That is the damage of you just out here slinging it and not caring what happens with the children because you didn't care about the mothers. You remove an opportunity for the children to get to know the other members of your family. And this is damaging and very dangerous. And my two oldest, they have their own issues. The oldest, mother didn't tell him anything for 27 years. And to this day has yet to tell me why she never said anything. Now, here's the crazy part. Yes, I've lived a crazy life. I have no problem with that. It's why I preach so hard that I do now. It's why I go so hard to help other people change their lives. Me and her talked when he was 2. And I said, you sure that's not my son? No, Key. We ran into each other 10 years later when he was 12. On a bus. I was heading to school. She was heading to work. You sure that's not my son? Looks like me, and people are telling me, no, Keith, it's not. Well, I'm not going to keep trying to request children. I got other children. Okay, cool, whatever. And then some 15 years later, the truth comes out. And she has yet to tell me why she's never told the truth. But yet he has issue with me, and there's nothing I can do. I can't explain to him I couldn't do anything because when I hear how difficult his life had been, and he's a 9/11 hero, by the way. He's a 9/11 hero. Thank you, Rhonda. Received the Liberty Medal and everything. Navy veteran. But I can't make him dig me, and I can't make him forgive me when I don't actually know what's wrong or how he feels about me. It is what it is. But is the door, and he's in the video too. If you go, like I said, if you look on YouTube, you go to my YouTube channel. Hold on a second. You go to my YouTube channel. I'll put the link up for you guys. And it's Keith K.L. Belbin. You will be able to see. There we go. Okay. You will be able to see all of my my videos. Let me see if I can put this up here. There we go. YouTube. Hold on. I'll put it up for you guys so you can actually see it if the link will come up that way. Because one of the things that I wanted to do as an attempt to try to repair my situation with my kids, that's the link. But let me just put this up here. That's the link. But if you just go, actually, no, that's too long. Hold on a second. That's too long. That don't make no sense. There we go. Okay, that's a better link. There we go. So what I did was when I did the old head versus young head series, what I did was I called them and said, look, I would like to get on with you, and I'd like to have a conversation live so other people can see the conversation. Thank you. Thank you for your truth. This message explains the root of dysfunctional relationships with women and men. Importantly, why women like me can't trust men. You're right. And Dana, you and I have talked quite a few times in the lives in the group, but you're right. And that's the reason why I do what I do, Dana. I am transparent because I am okay. but there's millions that are not. And when I hear you say you can't trust men, I get it and I understand it. It's why my target is working with women, because I want to come to the table and show that not only can men be trusted, ask the questions that you have. And I put my dirt out there for that reason. Because if I don't, then a lot of questions can't get answered. So when I come to the table and tell you exactly what I am, then hopefully I'm speaking to your pain and speaking to your situation. And that's what I'm trying to do. And Rhonda and Isaac and Dana and hey, Jamie, I appreciate you guys being here, because this is what it's about. This is what I do. Now, does it make me sad? Not anymore. It used to. But what I realized, and the thing that I came to, and this is why I mean Father's Day is a great day for forgiveness and change, because often it automatically carves open feelings that a lot of us have that we don't want. Father's Day means so much to so many people in so many ways that often the day can be overwhelming. And I get it. So what I'm focusing on, what I try to do in my professional capacity, is to point out what can be done on that day, but what are we going to do going forward the Monday after? So the Father's Day is a great day to position yourself for forgiveness, position yourself for change. The work starts the next day. Because some people, the only time they see their father is on Father's Day. Some people, the only time they speak to their father is on Father's Day. And some people don't care at all and hope that he dies. And they're okay with that. And then for some, they've lost their father. And this day coming on Sunday is a tragic reminder, and they're hurting too. And they didn't have a bad father, and he wasn't a whore, and he was a great guy, and he did all the things that he was supposed to do, and God took him. And we have to deal with that emotion as well. See, Father's Day creates so much emotion, good, bad, and in between, that the day can be overwhelming for some people. Because here's the thing, and I say this all the time on social media, I don't want to ever tell anybody what to post and what not to post. All I ever say is be considerate with all the things that you are showering on the man that you love, the father that he was, or whatever. Be mindful of the people who are hurting that their father is no longer here. Be mindful of the people who do not have a positive relationship with their father, and all this love causes hate. It does. And I climb into that dirty vat to try to help, because I help create some of the hate that's out there. So I don't run from it, and I'm not scared of it. And I help others because I've hurt others. It's what I do. Because to understand pain, you got to be okay with your own. That's why you heard me say earlier, the first thing is forgiveness of self. Now, I want to share something with all of you here. I want to give you something, because you guys know I'm a man of God, right? Okay. So I want to share something with you. I want to show you what God says, right? Check this out. Now, for you guys that might be watching who are not connected to the faith, it's okay. You don't have to go, is he taking us to church now? Nah, I'm a man of God. Y'all know it. Calm down. But in Matthew 6, now this comes up in many forms in the Bible, right? Check this out. But if you do not forgive others their sins, your father will not forgive your sins, right? So basically, if you can't forgive other people, you can't expect God to forgive you. Do you know that verse in many forms comes up often in the Bible? So why do you think God is stressing that you should forgive before you want to come and be forgiven? Something to it. And I'm going to tell you why. Peace, true peace, comes when you can let go of pain. That is why I'm a Christian counselor as well. I have told you that God have you on this journey to be an inspiration and motivation in the season. God is speaking to your soul. So keep pressing on my. Thank you, Rhonda. I appreciate you. I really do. Thank you. I'm trying to serve the best I can. And Lord knows I make some mistakes, but I try. But it's important. And I want you to understand that, guys. If you look up scriptures on forgiveness, right? If you look it up, you will see that version in many different ways. In Psalms, in Colossians, in Mark, you will see it come up all over. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Rhonda. Thank you. You will see it come up. Why? So why is God harping on forgive others before you come to me? And I honestly believe, God is trying to get you to understand that before you can come to want to deal with me, you have to be okay with yourself. Because before you could even look to forgive somebody else, you got to be okay with you. So God is actually telling you, get you right by going and dealing with somebody who's hurt you. That's where professional counseling comes in. This is where therapy comes in. This is what I do as a Christian counselor. These are the problems that I help fix. Why? Because I have heard people go, I'll never forgive him. I'll never forgive her. I've heard children say, I hope he dies. Wow. And I have to explain to them, I hear what you're saying, but please understand, sitting in this seat right here on live, I had to hear my mother die. You don't want that. On a Thursday night in 2020, my mother had a cardiac arrest and I was on live and forgot to turn the camera off. And people, I think it was 17 people was on the live as my sister is walking me through my mother's final breaths. You don't want someone to die. You know why? Because then it's final. Whatever feeling, whatever you had, wherever you two were, that is the final resting place. Now, you could change. You could get to the point and go, I've made amends and I'm okay now since he's been gone and since she's been gone. Okay. But you won't get a chance to have that conversation with them. You won't get that chance to experience them. Please don't underestimate that. My father, who I reconnected with after 39 years. So we have been talking now 39, 50, 15 years. And these 15 years have been great. And he still reminds me, or he still finds some things new about me that he goes, wow, when I listen to you, son, da-da-da. And I always joke when I say, you know where I got it from, right? And he goes, oh, please. But he's happy that we're connected. But for a while, he was me. Now, let me tell you this story, right? I'm going to tell you this about my father. I'm going to show you how God works. Also shows you the foundation of generational curses. Please pay attention. My father, and again, I'm going to give you right up until my father and I met, because I now have had KL, so I have 7 children. But check this out. When I met my father 15 years ago, right? Okay. My father loves full-figured women. I love full-figured women. My father got married and went to Jamaica on his honeymoon. I went to Jamaica on my honeymoon. My father had 6 children. I had 6 children at that moment. We had never met. I had became him having never met him. Put a 1 if you think that's crazy in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you think that's crazy or kind of spooky. We had never met. So when I tell you, I understand how things can move without our control, trust me. Thank you, Isaac. Appreciate that. I had to help repair the damage done to me. Remember, I thought another man was my father. It was my grandmother, I think, when I was 12. Thank you, Dana. I think 12. She said, when you going to tell that boy the truth? And I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Yeah, 13. My uncle had just passed away and I was emotional. My uncle, who actually helped raise me. So I did have a man that stepped in to try to offer me. And I was actually named after his son that passed away at a very early age. I think he died months. He was only months. I don't think he had reached 1 year old. His name was Keith. And every time we go out to where we bury our family in South Jersey, I always take a walk over to the children's section and I go look at his tombstone and my name there. It kind of creeps me out, but I see my name there and realize that's who I was named after, my uncle's son who didn't make it. So I became the replacement. So after my uncle passed away and I came home, I was kind of broken up. And my grandmother got upset and was like, you need to tell that boy the truth, because here I was thinking I was empty of the only person who had been a male figure to me. Turns out that I had a whole fire, and I kind of knew, but I had saw the picture before. But again, mother never told me. So ladies, please understand, you may be thinking you're helping the child, but please have a strong idea of why you're not giving the child all the information possible. It could be a lot of damage on the back end. And I'm not telling you that you should, because every situation is different. We would have to talk, and I know what it is. So what I'm saying to all of you, I was lucky enough to be able to repair things with my father. But unfortunately, I have not been lucky enough to repair it with my children. And that is the damage of a life led of sin. And you have to be okay with it. You have to accept it. So when Father's Day comes this Sunday, right? Please understand, enjoy it if you have your father. Enjoy him. And if you have a stepfather, a man that has stepped in and said, I will be the father that your father wasn't. Happy Father's Day to him too. Give him all the love. He deserves it. And it's actually, that takes a lot more strength to step in and raise somebody else's children. My hat off to any man that has done that. And the man that have done that for my kids when I wasn't there. Shout out to them. I don't hate them for that. I'm thanking the Lord sent them somebody. But as this Sunday comes up, it is a great starting point to offer forgiveness. Ladies, I know it's hard. I know it is hard when men have hurt you. I know it is hard when men have hurt your children. I get it. But it's a great way to teach forgiveness and ask for change. And again, I don't know all of your situations. I can only tell you what I know as a professional, as well as a person who has lived this. I tell you these stories because I'm not just the degrees on the wall back there. I've lived this. Change comes when a person wants to change, but you can be the motivation for the change. Do you know that my father still tells me, he says, when you wrote that letter, he said, I remember you saying, if you do not want to have anything, let me even back up a second. I wrote my father an email when I found out who he was and where he lived and everything like that, because I had heard about him from other people. They said, you look just like your father. And I used to always find that weird, because the picture that I had in my room was my sister's father. We didn't really look alike. So why all these people keep telling me I look like my father? I don't look like him. So when I found out the truth, now it started to make sense. But here's the funny thing, especially with lies, right? Do you know that many of my family members knew who my biological father was, never said anything? Don't know how I feel about that. I respect it to a degree, but I also don't like it. But they would say things like, you look just like your father. And his nickname was Dap. His real name is Elijah. And that's a funny thing too. My father's name was Elijah, and here I had named my son Elijah without ever having met my father. How about that? Add that to that list of other things I just told you. And I kept saying it didn't make no sense. I found out that I had brothers and sisters or whatever. I had my grandmother mother told me, but I met my brother 1985 playing basketball in South Jersey, Penns Grove, New Jersey. Shout out Penns Grove. When we played ball against each other, and my cousin told me, that's your brother. What? And then we met, and he filled me in on who my father was. He had the luxury of meeting him. I didn't. But I wrote my father an email, and I said to him, I'm almost 40 years old, and I want to introduce myself to you. I want to introduce my wife to you, and I want to introduce the children that I have, the ones that I know of. And I want to say to you that I would love to get to know you. I'd love to meet you. But if you are not ready, or if this is not something that you want, I'm okay with that. I forgive you for everything that you've done. And I just simply want to let you know I'm here. And I hit send on that email. My father said he read that email like 100 times. And he said he wasn't sure what to do. He said, but it was the fact that I said I didn't hold any ill will and that I said I really wanted to meet, that he said, well, if he wants to meet me, we need to make this happen. And again, ladies, please pay attention. Do you know why my father stayed away all those years? He thought that my mother and grandmother had put what they call salt in the water, meaning that they had me thinking and hating him, and he wasn't prepared on how to deal with that. Please understand, I work with a lot of men. Many of them do not know how to fix the damage that they have done, so they cut it loose and they start over somewhere else. If you're watching this, put a 2 in the chat. If you have seen men literally go out here and start a whole new family and act as if they didn't have the original family to start off with, put a 2 in the chat if you have seen this. Put a 2. And if you're watching this on replay, please, by all means, jump in. I will see when they come up. Thank you, Dana. Because many men, when they don't know what to do, it's in their DNA. Cut it loose. Cut it loose. It ain't working. Cut it loose. She ain't doing what I want her to do. Cut her loose. I don't like them kids. I'll go get some others. As evil as that sounds. And so that's why my father stayed away. But he said my email. So it took me, the son, to have to open up a slither of light, a pathway into my father. He grabbed onto that beam of light and came back. And we met in South Jersey, a neutral place. A couple weeks before I got married, by the way, in 2007. And we were staying at the same hotel. He told me he's going to come down to my room. When I got the knock on the door, I remember I wasn't nervous, but I was kind of jittery. And I opened up the door, and I seen he's slightly taller than me, older in the face. And we shook hands, and we hugged. And we both had this concerned look on our face because we wasn't sure what to expect from the other one. And this is what 2 alpha males do, because he's still an alpha. You can't tell my pop nothing, so I know where I get it from. And as 2 alpha males, we sat down and we sized each other up. Now, we were respectful, but you could see that we were also analyzing each other. And I asked him to have a seat. I asked him, did he want something to drink? And we just sat down and talked. And then I had called my brother who lived in South Jersey. And I said, why don't you come through? Our pop is here. And he was like, well, I ain't coming through. I want to talk to him. And I was like, calm down. Come through. All right, man, I'll be there in about 20 minutes. And I told my pop, my brother's coming too. I want him to be here too. But I knew we had about a good 20 minutes, half an hour to talk. And he started to fill me in, and he was just talking. And once my father got to talking, it was cool. And then when my brother showed up, but here's the thing that touched me. When my father started to tell his story, he was telling mine. He didn't have a connection with his father. He was out here just praying to the same God I was, the God of panties and coochie. And he was out here creating babies. And it turned out that I had become the living embodiment of who he was without ever having known him. So it was in the DNA. I just simply started to veer off of the path that he had created. And in meeting him and in talking to him and understanding that we actually had became the same person, or I had become him, I invited him to my wedding. I said, listen, I'm getting married in 3 weeks. I think it was at 3 weeks, 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I would like you to be there. And he looked at me like, I would like you to be there. I'm not worried about what everybody else thinks. I would like my father at my wedding. And I said, think about it. You ain't got to give me an answer now. I'll let you in on a secret in the story. He did come. And if you go to my page, click on videos and click on, I think, wedding, it's in Tiff and I's wedding videos. You see my father. He comes strutting down the steps. He's a showman like me. And he's dancing with my mom. And, I'm glad I have that on video. My daughter was there. And we were able to give her the bouquet. So if you ever go watch, bring your tissues. It's 3 videos. Bring your tissues. But he said yes. And let me tell you this, because I want to bring this to a close in a few minutes. Father's Day for me is about forgiveness and change. because I needed my father more at 39 than I did at 19. At 19, we fight. At 19, we fight and probably would have fought all day, every day, and he would have tried to hurt me, and I would have damn sure tried to hurt him because I didn't know any better. I had to grow into 20 years later. I had to grow into a man that was able to understand what it is to sit across from the man that conceived me. So I understand why some children feel the way they feel. I understand why some women feel the way that they feel when it comes to men, because here's the thing. When a man matures, the new woman gets the mature man. The previous woman is dealing with the scars from the man that he was. And that is the messed up part of the game. Tiffany gets the new me. My ex-wife is dealing with the scars of the old me. That's why I leave her alone. And that's why I don't say anything negative about her or any of the mothers of my children. I do not speak negative about them at all, and I pray for them every night. One was recently departed in 2021, but I still pray, whether they talk to me or not. Same for my children. Every night, I pray for all of my children. And I have grandchildren. Now, here's another collateral damage. Because my two oldest do not like me and do not speak to me, they do not allow me to see my grandchildren. And I have to live with that. You put negativity into the water, you will have to drink from that. You will have to drink from that. And you have to accept what you caused yourself not to have. So any father listening, please understand. Big if the women and children around you do not want to have anything to do with you, do not force it. Pray for them and let them go. But be prepared. If while you are still living, they want answers, answer them. Fill them in. Ladies, listen to me. I don't care how bad he's hurt you. Get help. Because if those children or child wants to have a relationship with their father, it is your job to foster that the best you can. Bite your lip, drop them off, be like, and come to me and we'll sit down in a professional situation. Rhonda said, I love you so much. I wish every man in the world would take all this from you. You have so many broken men. I enjoy this today. It was meant for me to listen today. Amen, Rhonda. Thank you. And let me see if I can bring that up or you can see it. It's on the screen already. I appreciate that, Rhonda. Every time I turn on the camera, I just try to be a living example of what God has done for me. So I appreciate you. And I thank you for that. So sisters, as much as it may hurt, let's book a session. Let's sit down and we can talk about how to help you heal. But he has to be honest now. Don't just go on words. It has to be true actions that you can see. If he really wants to try to reestablish something with his children, fine. But here's the thing. He has to say, I'm sorry to you first. He cannot try to reestablish something with the children if he's not going to own whatever role he played in the failure of the relationship. And if you didn't have a relationship and it was just a hit-off situation and he got you pregnant, he still needs to own that too. I have told my children the truth, the ones that needed to hear it. Your mother and I weren't in a relationship. We were having sex and you were conceived. So when you wonder why your mother and I did not have a relationship, there was no relationship to have. Now, how much your mother might have told you about her sex life, that is between you and your mom. But I can tell you that I was hoeing. And when I put it in a book that I've been with almost 400 women, I am telling you the truth. And that's probably a rough estimate. It's probably more, but it is what it is. Tiff and I sat down and literally did the count. I'm not happy by that. I'm not proud of that. It is what it is. So when I heard Wilt Chamberlain say he was trying to knock down 10,000, that he probably did knock down 10,000, I understood that too. So as we go into this weekend, Father's Day weekend, please understand that Father's Day is going to have many different meanings for many different people. If you or anyone that you know needs to speak to someone, I am here. Reach out to me. Set up a time to talk to me. Because I know what this day can do to a person spiritually. I know what Father's Day can do to a person physically and emotionally, all of the three. And I'm here to help. I am here to help show you a path where you can be as calm as I am on that day and be able to let go. Now, that doesn't mean you'll get to the level that I'm at. I had to embrace a lot that God wanted me to embrace to get to this point, but I can show you. I can show you what forgiveness looks like. Forgiveness of self looks like. I can show you what it looks like to regain trust in self and others of the opposite sex. It's not easy. These are the first times in my life, the last, 15 years, that I've had women friends that I wasn't trying to sleep with, that I didn't have secret agendas on. I'm going to be cool with them until I can get in those panties. I'm going to be right there with them as a married couple, and as soon as he mess up, I'm in there. I don't have those ideas anymore. I'm not that dude. I don't want that. I've done that. I've lived that. And it's destroyed a major part of my life. It reminds me of when the men and women of Israel got out of Babylon, and I think it was Nehemiah was rebuilding the church, and some of the elders said, our churches used to look so much better than this. Yeah, you destroyed them. you tore them up before you became slaves. And many of us are the same ways. But that doesn't mean that we can't have a fruitful and joyful life now with all the pain, because you can let the pain go and start over. I did. Now, are there still people out there who hate me? Mm-hmm. Of course. KL asked me about that. She said, Daddy, are you okay with people not liking you? I said, I'm fine with it. She said, but you don't, it doesn't bother you when people don't like you? No, not at all. Because I can't control it. Some people are going to hate my mere existence. I've apologized and I've prayed. There's nothing else I can do. I can't heal everyone that I hurt, but I can offer an apology, a sincere apology, and I can offer prayer for everyone that I hurt. And what I can do is heal the hurt in others who I have not hurt. That's what I do every day. That's what I get out of bed to do, because I honestly feel I owe God for saving my life. So all of my pain is not even pain. It's motivation. Because somebody has to be willing to stand up and say, I am not that anymore. And I'll show you how I became this. Knowing that they're going to get hit with all the tomatoes, eggs, and everything else. But I'm okay with it. You know why? Because somebody will come over in the calm and they'll look around and go, thank you. Or a brother will come quietly, just like in the Bible, John 3, will come over sometimes at night. Hey, brother, how was you able to just not live like that anymore? And that's okay. Because if I don't let all of you know that I'm that dude, they don't know to come and talk to me quietly. And I don't out them. You see, I didn't give the young lady's information at HIV. I'm not putting her information out there. I will not do that. But I will take the story to be able to use it to motivate other people. And have I been perfect over the 15 years? Nope. I have made some mistakes. I have done some things that Tiff has had to check me and be like, you're right. And that's, again, what happens when you have solid people in your corner. You have some people that when you fall down or fall back are strong enough to help you back up. And again, it goes back to this right here. See, the Bible can be used for so much more than just roughing people off. You can use it as a guide. So here in Galatians 6:2, carry each other's burden, and in this way you will fulfill the laws of Christ. So now if we're forgiving our brothers and sisters, because we want God to forgive us, as I just said in the verse from Matthew. And then we look right here in this verse from Galatians that we have to carry the burdens of other people. How can we carry the burdens of anybody if we're not okay with self? If we have not fixed self? You see why God is smarter than we realize, and everybody can say what they want to say about the Bible and all that. Stop it. If you actually look and can get away from the rhetoric of man and look at what's actually written and apply it to how you live your life, you will actually see a guide to how to help people get better. It is actually a fantastic book for counseling, and that's why I use it. Because when I can show you that God is saying, help somebody else, forgive somebody else. To do that, you have to check self. So right there is already the door opener for you to come get professional help. So then when I show you this verse right here where it says carry each other's burden, before you can carry anything, do you have the ability? Do you have the capacity? So automatically it still comes back to self, because this is what you come to me to get professional help with. Keith, the Lord tells me to carry somebody else's burden, but I hate everybody else. Let's talk. Keith, the Lord says forgive, but I can't forgive him for what he did to me. He slept with my sister. He gave me AIDS. Well, how am I supposed to forgive that? Let's talk. Right now, you can't, but let's talk. He hurt my kids. Yo, he don't even talk to them. He don't even call them. Why should I even care? Because you don't want your child at 30 and 40 years old having issues that you could correct now. Let's fix that. Let's work on that. Let's not give in to generational curses. Let's fix that. That's what I'm here for. All of us, whoever watches this, whenever they watch it, all of us have seeds planted of negativity from people that we have experienced all the way back to when we were toddlers. The question becomes, who waters those seeds? Now, if they never pop open, you are blessed. But when they do, you're going to need help. And I'm here for it. Some may come just walking down the street. Some may come from music that you hear. Yeah, these are all triggers. And some may come when you are engaged in intimate situations with somebody else that you care about. Negative seeds from your past can come to the forefront, and you don't know how to explain that to the person that you're with, because it's not making sense to you either. Yes, these are all triggers, and I'm here for it. And if you are interested in talking to me, right, here you go. This is how you reach me, ladies, gentlemen, everybody, Rhonda, Dana, Isaac, Jamie. By all means, share this with everybody you know. This is how they reach out to me to set up a session with me, a free session. Every session, always the first session is free. And I can figure out if I'm the person to help them. But this is where you go. This is how you set up a private call with me. Because I know this weekend will trigger a lot of emotions, and I am here for it. And so I just want to say thank you, Rhonda, Dana, Isaac, Jamie, for taking the time out to listen to me. Rhonda, thank you so much for the compliments. Dana, as always, love you, darling. I miss you. I'm not on Instagram as much. I got to check and see what you're doing, because Dana has some of the greatest videos in the world. Dana is a true super flirt. She will have you going, but she's actually one of the best women on the planet. And if you ever get a chance to talk to her, she's deep. Don't come with no BS. Come with some real conversation. She's that. And Isaac, respect you as always, young sir. I hope you're getting something from this old man here, and I appreciate you. And Jamie, I appreciate you as well. Hopefully I'll get to talk to you real soon, my friend. And this is what I do. And as I say every time, I am Keith K.L. Belvin, crisis specialist, professional counselor, author, educational consultant, and more importantly, I am a recovering misogynistic whore who is now a man of God. And I am okay with what I used to be. So you can come and show up and be your authentic self. I will not judge you. It is not for me to judge. It is for me to heal. And so I will listen, and I will help put something in motion to help get you to where you want to go. So I want you to all have a wonderful day. I want you to have a wonderful weekend. And if your father is with you, give him a call. I don't care what the situation is, even if it's just to say, have a wonderful day and hang up the phone. If your father is not with you, then I pray that the memories are positive. But if they are negative, pray for yourself, pray for him, and pray that he came to understand the Lord before he left this planet. And if you're not a person who is religious, if you're like, I don't care what you say about all that religion, Keith, I respect that. If your father's no longer here, then try to hold on to any positive memories that y'all might have shared. If there is none, then just say, you know what? It is what it is. He's gone. And work on you today. And you become a better father. If you had a bad situation, if you're not a religious person, if you had a bad situation with your father, use it as motivation to be a better father if you have children. And finally, to any of my sisters, if this weekend causes emotions and feelings and everything else that you can't deal with, reach out. Let's talk. You can ask me any questions as a man, and I'll answer why men do the things they do. I'm here for it. But do not feel that you are all alone because you're alone. You are not all alone. You might be alone in your house, but all you have to do is reach out. And there are not just people like myself. There is tons. Whereas the Lord told Elijah, there's 7,000 you don't know anything about. But I'm here. And this is what I do. So again, I hope that you liked what I said today. I hope that you shared. You should have shared this by now with somebody. And please, not just share them, but tell them why they should watch it. Because hearing you say, you need to check this man out, they might come and check me out. And if they do, I got them. I'll help them out. But make sure that you like this. Make sure that you share this. And please leave comments and tell me what you thought about this. And I will check all of them out. I thank you so much. Thank you for taking this hour and change out with me. I got to go get something to eat. I've been intermittent fasting. And oh, Lord, it's after 12. I'm back here getting dizzy. Have a good one, guys. Keep me in prayer. All right. This is always a so-so weekend for me. I'm good, but sometimes I sit back, I'm like, but I try not to think about the past. I am human, though. Take care, guys. Have a wonderful one. Thank you so much for sharing some time with me today.